Good evening, good evening. It's the fan phone in, and we're doing this after winning 3 points. But to discuss with me whether this is indeed a turning point in the season, spoiler alert, it's not. I have, as always, my co-host. It's the wonderful Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Ryman? Oh, that's a good start as well, because your audio is... I'm going to cue you up again for that. I'm going to cue you up again, okay? So your audio's there. I don't know why it didn't work. Look, it wouldn't be technical difficulties without, being the OK Football Show. The OK Football Show is synonymous with technical difficulties. You should be back now, but I'm going to cue you up again. So with me to discuss whether this is indeed a turning point, it's the beautiful Mark Ryman. How are we getting on?
So that last time. We are so back. Every win. I'm saying it. What Cal Naismith, captain, leader, legend, scorer of great goals.
It could only be him. Back. It had to be him.
Okay. I'm good. It's great to actually talk after a win. It's been a long time, let alone a win away from home. That feels like a rarity worth savouring. Look, sarcasm aside, and that is difficult for me to do, but sarcasm aside, some positives from that game, because I agreed with you or post-match on a couple of things. We didn't create much, if anything, from open play.
Someone had a go at me in the comments section on my post-match saying, you're slagging off the team for only scoring 2 goals from corners. Yeah, I'm speaking facts. I'm not making it up that we didn't create anything from open play.
We didn't create much, no. But I don't think it was smash and grab. To be honest, that was the only thing I'd say. We sort of spoke about this before we came on air. I don't think they really created much at all. Only obviously they scored in the last minute. Take that away. I think as you said already, Odoffin was absolutely excellent, easily the man of the match for me. And I would also say that we came out in the second half with some purpose. All right, we didn't necessarily create loads, but I think we managed the game far better than we had done in the past. We've gone 1-0 up plenty of times in recent history, actually, and we've completely crumbled. Second half, we've come out waiting for them to and handing teams the momentum. I don't think that happened at all, really. We always... we had enough about us to go at them in their half that meant that they couldn't just kind of dominate. They were poor, don't get me wrong, they were poor. And
I didn't even if you look up post-match, I gave them a lot of credit. I didn't say they were poor.
Yeah, no, they were. I think they were poor. I think their fans would agree, and I think both they would be upset about both of those goals. I mean, their goalkeeper, how he's kept that place. I had to double check if it was the same keeper that played against us in the home leg, because I was like, that surely not. Surely they've got someone in the youth team instead. But I think it particularly for the Palmer header, which but 2 good headers, both players pretty much unmarked. But the Palmer header at the near post, you'd think the goalkeeper should be covering that area a lot better than he did. Just allowing someone to get that close to the goal at the front post. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's great to see us score some set piece goals from corners as well. We need to have that back, and particularly away from home when we're not creating as much. And it was also, of course, amazing to see Eli back on the pitch for his little sort of 5-minute cameo. That was nice. But no, I thought that generally we controlled the game as well as you can away from home, and that's only got to be a positive thing. Like you, do I think that there's any hope of playoffs? No, I don't. But I think now you've just got to be talking about building for next season, because look, I don't want to go through the rigmarole of a new manager search. It was getting to the point where I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel for Jack Wilshere. But if he convinces us over the next 8-9 games that there's actually a kind of basis for performance home and away, then that's only got to be a good thing for next season, right? So plenty of positives, and we beat Wycombe, and it was absolutely delightful to hear Wycombe fans boo an opposition team wasting time. It is absolutely, if hypocrisy had a sound, it would be that sound. Amazing. So yeah, overall, got to be happy, right?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a game against Wycombe without at least 10 minutes of time added on. You know,
Yeah.
their scoreboard goes up to 100 for a reason.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was just the irony and the fans all complaining about it. I mean, you think overall, just in Gareth Ainsworth's time as manager, the amount of karma that's got to come back to them in terms of time wasting. Teams are owed at least on average like another half of football, I imagine, against Wycombe based on that
At least.
alone.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but so whether it's going to be a turning point, whether we make a charge into the playoffs, we were discussing this before we actually came on air. And by the way, anyone that wants to call in, please feel free. The link to call in to the studio is pinned to the top of the chat. Good evening to everyone that is in the chat. Good evening to everyone that is watching. The link is also in the description below the video. So we were discussing before we came on about the state of League One and the fact that some of the teams are just in absolutely horrendous form. Huddersfield, who, they got rid of Lee Grant. They had that little uptick when, who's that bloke from Norwich with 12 fingers? I can't think of his name. Liam Manning, that's it. Liam
You
Manning.
listen, you didn't need to have the insult in there, but yeah, Liam Manning, thanks.
Yeah, he had that little uptick, but now their form has really petered off, especially away from home. Like they got a real case of the Lutons going on at the moment, except worse, they're not even scoring away from home. And then Stevenage, they had that. They haven't really picked up that form that they had early on in the season. Stockport have dropped off. Obviously, Reading and Wycombe have sort of picked up. Plymouth, I would say, they've sort of plateaued. They did win back-to-back games. They beat Donny, they beat Wigan, but they drew against Reading, which I guess was good for us. But before that, losses. Ben Pepple's banging form, but they've sort of
he's scoring for fun, isn't he?
And also Tolaj is out for a while, which isn't so much of a problem because Pepple's, as I said, banging form. But even with that all being as it is, it's still 7 teams going for 2 places, as I said yesterday. The odds are really against us.
Yeah. Oh, well, they are. Well, because we shot ourselves in the foot over and over and over again against teams that we should be beating and competing with, or in matches as well. As per usual, we've made life very difficult for ourselves. But hey, look, if it, as you said, I don't see us getting near it because I just don't see the consistency. We've lacked consistency now for 2 years, and yeah, there's a lot there that we still have to work on, including putting the ball in the back of the net more frequently. That's the thing, isn't it? All the teams you just mentioned.
It's open play.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right. All the teams you mentioned, bar Huddersfield, who are clinging on by the skin of their teeth at those playoff positions, have got a goal scorer or 2 in form. And that's the difference, isn't it? And actually, the goal scorer that Wycombe had in form, of course, couldn't play yesterday because he's signed to us. But that's all those teams, and that probably the missing piece. Now Adebayo kind of is giving people hope, and that's great. If that drives some positivity, then far be it from me to kind of shut that down. Absolutely not. Let's hope we get the Elijah Adebayo that we got just before he got injured, because actually I think his form was beginning to pick up. But it's a long stint now. It's a lot to ask. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Look, but fine. People want to have that positivity. That's absolutely fine. No problem with it. I also don't have a problem with, because I saw a lot of backlash online, and often the one to put the boot in, but I didn't have a problem with Devante Cole coming on instead of Elijah. I think we were 2-0 up at the time. Why would you risk someone who's been injured for that long? We don't need to score a goal. I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with him coming on in the last 5 minutes instead. But yeah, I agree. I think it's at the back as well. Look, Adolfin was absolutely excellent, as we said. Longwick, sort of miracle recovery, also I thought had a decent game
Yeah,
as well.
what was that
Worth
about?
mentioning. It's
What
interesting,
was
isn't it?
that
He did a
about?
full on Pelly. He's been on the phone to Pelly Ruddock after when was it that Pelly was out, completely out, and there was a Watford game that he suddenly made a miracle recovery for. I'm not
Yeah, and
suggesting Longwick had
Rob
that game.
Edwards. Yeah, Rob
It was under
Edwards
Rob
was
Edwards, wasn't it?
saying, "Oh
Yeah,
no, there's no chance he's back," and then bam, he was starting.
he's in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an odd one, definitely. I don't know anyone who gets stretchered off and have that sort of reaction and then start the next game.
unless we had
Very
Mr.
odd.
Miyagi in the changing room doing the whole.
Well, yeah, it's usually the opposite effect, isn't it, for players?
Yeah,
Usually they come off fine and get themselves injured between matches. Um, but it's that for me. And look, he scored and good for him. Although interesting post match from Cal Naismith. Clearly, he's been watching or listening to not ours maybe, but some podcasts. It's not as if we're on our own, by the way, in slating Cal Naismith. But I think it was clear what he wanted to do. He wanted to come out and attack and basically prove people wrong by running 50 yards down the pitch and scoring a goal. But by doing that in the first 20 minutes, he gave the ball away 3 times and left us without a defender in the middle of the park and gave them open opportunities. I mean, it did get better from there on. I think he had a good second half and he did put in some good last ditch tackles in the second half as well. So give him credit for that. But he just came out and just was like, right, I'm going to take everyone on. and yeah, and that is the concept. But it did show one thing, didn't it? Is that, he is better when he's in the opposition's half of the pitch than when he's in his own half of the pitch, which does say a lot about why he keeps playing in the center of defense. But anyway, look, you know, it's consistency. We always say it, like the last 2 playoff spots are going to be taken up by a team that goes on a run, and as yet there's no team that is consistently on that run. I thought it'd be Reading, but now Jack Marriott's injured until either very late in the season or out for the season. That's made a big difference to them.
and they
Their
can't play
defense is
Luton
terrible
every
as well.
week.
I know exactly. I bet they wish they could, but we made their defense look fantastic when we played them, but generally their defense is terrible, isn't it? So, and they concede at least 2 or 3 goals nearly every game, as they did against Plymouth. I think they were ahead. They had in that game a couple of times. They 1-0 and 2-1 up. I can't remember now. I did keep my eye on it. But yeah, there's no team that's really showing a consistent run of form. But yeah, it's goals from open play that's going to be the problem for us.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed midweek we can back it up. We've got a decent chance to, I think.
Yeah. Look, we're going to have to see if we have indeed turned a corner. When Exeter come to town, I think they're 18th at the moment. Yeah, they're 18th. And notoriously, we have struggled against the teams in the bottom half of the table. More specifically, teams who have been in the bottom 5 or 6. So we'll see what happens, because they're coming in fighting for their lives, and we'll see if we can break them down, because they're going to come to Luton. They're going to try and get a point and hit us on the break. That is pretty much going to be the game plan.
Rotherham, Blackpool, etc.
Yeah, that is what you do when you go away from home. You're struggling. You got to be compact. You got to sit tight, and you hit a team on the break to try and nick a win, or try and just frustrate them for a draw. Because one thing we cannot do is break down a low block. So we'll see what happens. But the highlights for me yesterday, other than the goals, was Codger and Naki Wells with good shots, from the very corner of the box.
Yeah.
It's not like, if you watch the counter attacks, and I think I shared this on Discord, like just a screen grab of it. And I mentioned it yesterday as well. It's like 3 of our players against 7 of theirs. There's nothing that we're going to be able to do. And I'm amazed that, and that is the problem when you play a 3-4-3 or whatever the hell we were playing yesterday. That is the problem, because when you attack, it's just going to be the wing backs and the striker. Like Casey Palmer had put the ball through, and that's all there was. That's all there was. When you play a 4 at the back, it means you can actually attack with a bit more gusto. have someone else coming from midfield. It is what it is. Look, I'm not the coach. I'm not a UEFA accredited guy. I just want to see some bloody good football. Now, FotMob have put on the touch maps now. So I had a look at Naki Wells's touch map. Like that is not what you want from a number 9, but the number 9's like a dead breed in modern football. You pretty much touched it everywhere except the box.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but this is it. I think it was. I mean, I thought Lawrence was good again, to be honest. I don't think it was his best game, but I thought it was good. I thought Palm was excellent again. We've got the creative players in there, but I think when it goes to the wide men, there's not enough people risking putting themselves in the box. Not just Wells. The rest of the team have to join in there, and as a result, Lawrence will beat his man and then go back to whoever's behind him, like Naismith or someone else. Then it goes across to Walsh, then it goes across to the other side, and the same thing happens. And by the time the cross comes in, there's 7 of them, and there's 2 or 3 of us, as you said, and that's the constant issue. A lot of the time, the goals that we have scored, I think of the goal against Stockport. I can't remember which goal it was. The first one, the Northampton game, the first away game under Jack Wilshere. They were all crosses that came across immediately and had a player risking and getting into the front post and putting it in the back of the net. Lamine Fanny was one of them. I can't remember who it was against Stockport, but it was a very similar goal. And
Richards.
That's if you've got I think it was Richards. Yeah, you're right. But that's what you want when you've got those tricky wingers. You've got fast wingers as well, and you've got to have the players supporting them. And yeah, Wells is one of them, but it needs to be done from the rest of the pitch, from the rest of the players as well. We've got people waiting to call in, so we shouldn't take too long.
Before we bring someone in, I want to ask you, how many touches do you think Wells had in the opposition box?
In the opposition box, it's probably going to be single figures, isn't it? 9. I'm going to go high single figures.
1.
I said single figures. It's right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a good shot, like you said. I mean, look,
I don't. That was his only touch in the opposition box.
It was a good, and that's it. We've just been saying. I mean, by the way, you mentioned people disagreeing online. Look, if you disagree with us, please call in. We're not so sensitive that we can't take a conversation. If you think that we're being too negative or too this or the other, then please call in. That's the point.
It's a game of opinions.
Get your opinion in. Yeah. That's we want to hear from you. But anyway, so do you want to? Should we get our first caller in? Do you want to look at some comments?
Should we? Yeah, we'll bring in Simon first because we've had a lot of Pete. Sorry, Pete. I know you're in first, but we've had you on every single week. Simon hasn't been on. Apologies to everyone if my sound is low. I'm trying. I don't know what I'm doing with OBS or anything like that. I've cranked up my decibels. I'm talking straight into the microphone. I'm trying, guys. I am trying.
It's really loud for me.
Oh, it's really. It's like, yeah. On the Discord, it's just like deafening. But everyone's telling me that my audio is quiet. I'm very sorry, guys. Yeah. I'm trying. Kelvin is still enjoying his time in Mallorca. Check you out, Kelvin. Good stuff. Hopefully you call in when you're back. Luton Town fans, 4 of the next 5 league matches are at home. Never going to happen, but we'd have to win them all to put ourselves back in the playoff picture.
Oh God, here we go.
3 of the last 4 are away.
Yeah. Yeah, well, absolutely. Of course we are. And we're going to have to win some of those away games. You look at, I think the last game of the season is Bolton away, isn't it? I mean,
can you imagine if we were in the playoff picture?
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be insane.
Listen, we're all in agreement, by the way, that it's not going to happen. And we don't think it's going to happen. But, we actually do play quite a lot of the teams above us still, despite the fact that we've already played a few of them twice now. And yeah, if we're still in the playoff picture, then those games I suppose would be important. But anyway, it's all about form. Right? Should we get Cyan? Get some.
Indeed. Let's do it. Do you want to drag him in, and I'll transition the screen. Hey, there we go.
I've done it.
And another one as well. Did you notice that aside from dropping the F-bomb in his 3 Counties radio interview, Wilshere talked about Eli and Cole forming a partnership up front? Yeah, it's interesting. Like 3 Counties Radio, edited that out, edited the F-bomb out, which was brilliant.
Yeah.
Good editing, seamless. Didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Hello.
Right. Good evening,
Hello,
Si.
Si.
How you doing?
We're going to talk about a win. We're actually
I
talking
know,
about a
it's
win.
shocking, isn't it?
I know.
A win away from
Myself.
home. What's that all about?
I know. Yeah.
Can't
Even my
believe it.
wife, when I said, "Oh, we've bloody only gone and won," and she said, "What was in that? Was that in a cup or something?" I'm assuming it wasn't in the league. It's even my wife's taking the piss out of us now. She knows nothing about football.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm quite
Anyway,
happy.
what did you make of it?
We won. That's all I give a toss about at the minute. Winning away from home is a must. We needed to get that monkey off our backs because it was severe and it was dragging us down. And it's so nice to see that we have broken that streak. When was it? November? We last won away? It's insane that we were in this position in League One. But that's, we've discussed all that to death. Naismith is such a funny guy, man. Naismith cracks me up. He's following all of us, talking about him. And like you said, he come out, he's like, yeah, I'm going to score. Who cares if they have 7 opportunities in the meantime? So fair play. He got his goal.
Yeah, good header. I mean, he was left unmarked. Good header, though.
Yeah. I've seen them miss from there. So
I'd love to know why Kodjura ain't getting as many minutes as he really should.
Did you see the Jack Wilshere comment that said he could do with some game time or something? Like, you're in charge of that decision, right?
Jack should have a word with whoever's picking the team.
I saw a really funny post in regards to the team selection. I think it was Dan Ashby, where he goes, today's lineup from the Jack Wilshere lucky dip. And it did make me laugh.
Yeah, it very much does have a tombola of shit vibes about it. Just like clickety clack, clickety clack, clickety clack. And playing centre back will have.
It does feel like that, doesn't it? It does feel like that. But I am really happy with the win. I can't take anything away from it because we would have managed to lose that game every single time the last few months somehow. And when they got that one goal, I feared the worst. I thought it had a draw on it.
Yeah, you and me both. I'll put it on mute after that point. I didn't want to know.
Don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you. But it is nice. And I know it's easy to get bogged down in everything that's going wrong at Luton Town Football Club, which all of us have highlighted many times. So it's only right that we praise the positive stuff. And that result was a positive at what could be a good time in the season. We're only 5 points off the playoffs somehow. What even is this league?
Yeah, well, we're 5 points off 6th place, and 5th place is also quite close. But we were talking about how absolutely terrible this league is. Bolton and Burton are sort of just like, getting away from it. Unless they both have an absolute collapse, there's no way they're caught.
Bradford.
So Bradford, yeah.
Not
Burton. Yeah.
I was like, what? What's happened?
Yeah, it's Bradford and
Not
Bolton.
that bad,
Sorry, all the bees. I'll pick them out of Jack Wilshere's tombola of shit. All the bees. They're far and away. They're not getting caught. But there are 7 teams going for 2 places. And Ryman said it is entirely about who hits that run of form. I don't think it's going to be us because we're not making the right notes. We're not. Do you remember that League One season under Nathan Jones when we started? I don't want to say poorly, but we really only started after we got beaten 3-2 by Barnsley, and everything was sort of suggesting that we were just really unlucky. Because do you remember that game against Peterborough?
I was there.
We battered
I remember
them.
it well.
We
did. Should have had a penalty.
battered them.
Got given a penalty and then
hit the bar a couple of times. Like we absolutely smoked them that game. We didn't get the win. Even Sunderland, we looked really decent against Sunderland, who were like overwhelming promotion favourites. But the underlying numbers suggested that we were one of the best teams in the league. Like if you look at the underlying numbers this season, it shows that we if it wasn't for Bloomfield's run of form at the beginning of the season, we'd be in the relegation battle. If it wasn't for Jack Wilshere's January form or Christmas form, whatever it was, we'd be in the relegation zone. Like, his points per game would be absolutely atrocious. Our underlying numbers are absolute garbage. So I don't think we're going to be the team that put the run together, because right now we can't create anything from open play. Like, when we attack, there's no one in the box ever. But I'll stop like restating the obvious, because anyone with eyes can see this right now. Not disparaging those without eyes. Even they can see it. I do
think that people need to temper their expectations of Elijah when he comes into the team. He hasn't played proper football, for a really long time. He's coming off injury that usually significantly alters players' careers. So we have to be patient with Elijah. You can't get on his back. He may never be the same player ever again. You just don't know. We have to hope for the best, but his injury was a very severe injury. People have to keep it in mind.
Stop adding logic. Boo, hat-trick first game.
No, it's true. It's true.
Hat-trick every game.
Hat-trick every game.
Hat-trick every game, and I won't take anything less.
I think what was nice was to see his song being sung, because he had a rough old time last season and didn't half the team as well. And I think that, maybe my attitude towards Eli's changed slightly. I didn't hold any grudge towards him, really, specifically, personally, although I did probably lump him under a lot of players who I didn't think wanted to be here. And yeah, he's been injured, so what else could he do? But I think that, his work to come back and his clear enthusiasm to be back in the team does say something about him as well, which is nice. And while you're right, Si, it's nice to have that kind of link back to something we recognise as the old Luton, if you like. Yeah, you're right. It's unlikely to be the answer, but hey, if it gives us something to be cheerful about at the moment, let's bloody take it.
The less said about Al Hamadi, the better.
Well, yeah, like where's he gone?
No one's saying anything about Al Hamadi.
Where's he gone? Where's Izzy Jones? Not even on the bench, and a win sort of tapes over the cracks in the questions that we should be asking. Like, where are the answers to the 1885 questions? Like there are a lot of questions there. I'd love to hear the answers to, like, about the stadium. Like, in my interview with Gary Sweet, he was adamant we'd be playing a power court for the 28-29 season. I don't think so. There's no chance in hell that we're going to be playing there for the 28-29 season. No chance in hell. Halo,
I don't think so either. I think it'll be 30-31.
Yeah.
At the current rate they're going, it's going to be about then, because it ain't going to be 28.
Yeah, no chance. And I'd love a chance to. I was just talking to Ryman about it before. Like, I'd love to get invited back into the club and get to ask questions, especially now that I've got the additional ammo from the 1885 questions. That'd be wonderful. I'd love some answers from that, because sure as hell, Law and Luton aren't going to get those answers. Neither are the LTST. Someone needs to. Why not me? Because I won't shirk asking those questions.
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd pay to see it, man. But let's
petition
just try
the
and
club.
enjoy the win,
Get me back in there.
I want to enjoy the win.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of stuff going on in my real life at the minute. I'm getting married next month. So I'm hoping we have a good run of form for a positive end of the season. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, hopefully Luton don't ruin your wedding day. And have you checked to see if there's
it's the week after the Virtu final.
Okay. Yeah, but there are no expectations, are there, for the Virtue anyway?
Oh, it'll be fine. At least I'll have something nice.
Yeah, absolutely. But congrats on the wedding. I've obviously told you
Thank
this
you, guys.
privately, but I'll say it. I'll broadcast it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's why I haven't been around. I've been too busy. The guy, what's his name? Pete's been really good. I enjoy your conversations with him.
Oh well, we'll get him on then. We'll boot you out
at this point.
Yeah, I like him. Get chatting to him. I enjoy listening to him. I'll stop waffling on.
Yeah, no worries, mate. All right.
Nice one, guys.
Care.
See you later.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya. I was going to say to Si, not to jinx it, but my nephew got married this year, and the game that was played during his wedding was the Lincoln away game. So fingers crossed, eh?
Yes.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. It can't get much worse than that, can it?
Here's a good comment, actually. Treguard's Nightmare. I think the Universal theme park in Bedford will be completed before Power Court. And
there's certainly a lot more money and resources going into that.
But also they've only been building it for like 7 weeks, and it actually looks a bit further advanced than Power Court.
Yeah.
It is very funny. Like, whether they have more money in it, like the fact that we've been constructing Power Court for 7 years, they've been constructing for 7 weeks, and they pushed a hell of a lot more mud round than we have. It's mad.
It's a lot of mud to push around. That's true.
Well, there's a lot of mud. Yeah, a lot more mud there. It's a bigger site up in Bedford. But hey ho.
Well, exactly. But you're right though. I mean, look, you don't want to go back to circle the same things all the time, because it is nice to talk about something else. Definitely. But yeah, those questions don't go away with a couple of wins. I think that's important. That even if we end up with getting whatever you'd consider to be a positive result this season, which I think the best you can hope for is a Virtue win, then those questions are still remaining and still need to be put to the club, or the club need to come out and answer them in some form or another. Whoever that's still absolutely the case.
But they won't. That's the problem. They won't, and it's worrying because it's all going to get swept under the carpet. They're hoping people aren't talking about it anymore. There was obviously the original buzz, and now people aren't talking about it. But we need to hold people accountable. Guess who would hold the board accountable to it? Gary Sweet of 2002. He'd hold them accountable. He absolutely would. And now like it's all being hidden. It's all being hidden and swept onto the carpet. We need answers to these things, and a win doesn't hide that fact. Should we get Pete in before I go off?
Yeah, let's get Pete in.
Let's get Pete.
Yeah, let's get Pete in. And there's plenty of comments as well. Right.
Oh, do you want to answer the comments?
Yeah, I was just gonna. Well, no, there's a couple on there. Phil LTFC, everyone's swooning over Adebayo's return, and then he pisses off on a free transfer to the Championship in the summer. I mean, yeah, there's every chance that happens. Yeah, but fine. Let's just. I've got to the point where I just at the moment just trying to find any joy in following Luton. But yeah, but that is probably fair enough. I think that's probably the Izzy Jones question answered as well, isn't it? I just think he's not that interested. His last 2 games weren't very good either. I mean,
he's being forced to play a right back, isn't he? He's not a right back.
He is the club's right back, Ollie. He's the club's right back.
Yeah, that's the official line. He is the right back, but he is not actually a right back. He's being forced into it against his will, and he looks like a player who's being forced to play there against his will.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's get Pete in. Pete, how you doing?
Over to Pete.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah,
doing good. 3 points, mate.
Congratulations, Simon. Congratulations, Simon. It will never last.
It's good to have your positivity on now, Pete. That's it. That's what we need. You need bring it back down to earth.
I was trying to find something as surprising as a Luton Town away win, and the only thing I could think of was Andy Murray wearing an England shirt at the World Cup. That'd be pretty surprising. Oliver Reed, George Best and Alex Higgins meeting up for a coffee, or the parting of the Red Sea. I could just imagine everybody at that event watching that going, fucking hell, that's surprising. And then some bloke at the back saying, not as surprising as a Luton Town away win. But that's kind of how it makes you feel, isn't it? All cigarette manufacturers should change their packaging to read watching Luton Town can seriously damage your health. Because it's a roller coaster, isn't it? But yeah, 3 points on the road is pretty eye-catching in itself, but it only hides the truth that this has probably been one of the worst seasons of watching Luton I can remember. I mean, 6 points from 33 available on the road tells its own story, really, doesn't it? And I don't want to be glass half empty because everybody's feeling positive about the win, but it's 2 goals from set pieces. And apart from Codger's shot we created very little else from open play. I mean, this is the first time we've really capitalised from a team having key players out. I mean, Wycombe were, they had two of their best defenders out injured. It looks like we've worked on that near post corner routine because we've slung the ball in there a few times now in games, and we've started to get a bit of reward from it. But it was interesting yesterday as well, watching Chris Powell jumping about like a jack in the box. I mean, he's unbelievable, that bloke, isn't he? I mean, he only seems to want to be involved when it's going well. He's 56, and I would imagine this is possibly one of his last jobs, maybe. He's pretty much semi-retired. He must sit there and think, if I stick this out for a few years, I can top up my pension, disappear into the sunset without actually getting my hands dirty. But, you know, he was back to sort of his high-fiving and everything's cool and stuff. But, you know, when the going gets tough, he kind of disappears a bit, I think. But look, it's a win, isn't it? I mean, and it's a big if, we win our next two home games, the fans may start to believe that by some ridiculous quirk of fate and the fact that this league has become the North Home Counties Premier League, we may still have one last sniff of the playoffs. But let's be honest, if we did sneak in, there's no way we deserve it. It's been a car crash of a season, really. But yeah, I mean, this is a critical time of the season now, I would imagine. I mean, most will have one eye on the end of the season, and they'll all be having conversations in dark corners with teammates or talking to family and agents about where their futures are going to lie. These next 10 games will probably define a lot of their futures. I look at the likes of Yates, Nordas, Sally, Brown, Woodrow. They'll all be blaming their lack of form previously on the structure at Luton and trying to justify why they're all now finding form at other clubs. And there'll be all sorts of whispers going on. Players talk to each other, of course they do. And that has far-reaching effect, doesn't it? Because a lot of those sort of players will be saying, well, you don't want to touch Luton, and that could have a far-reaching effect on the close season when we're trying to bring players into the club. But it'll be interesting to see what happens between now and then. But I don't know whether you guys saw as well, the Coventry CEO. I don't know whether you saw that, but he's now said that, look, he's going to reward the season ticket holders that have been season ticket holders through thick and thin with Coventry. And if they go up, he's going to give all of those season ticket holders a free season ticket for next season if they go up. Now, that's a real owner. I mean, what a great gesture that is.
I hadn't seen that. Fair play.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that'll be too crazy because what is he talking about? The people that stuck with them all the way down to League Two?
I was going to say that's
got to be like what 1,500 people because their stadium's been empty.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A select bunch, but what a great gesture and what a way to get the fans on side as well if they do go up. I like Coventry. I thought they were a class act when we played them in the playoffs, and I think they deserve it. And I think they're running that club well, you know. And then you look at us in comparison, and you kind of think, well, that's how not to do it, really, isn't it? I mean, most successful companies in the world are headed by a CEO, but then he has his own lieutenants who drive the company forward. You know, Sweet seems to be the exact opposite. He's the head chef, he's head of recruitment, he's the groundsman, he's the head coach. And he's not, you know, he's not delegating it out at all. I know for a fact that there are individuals at the club in their roles who will remain nameless that are bored in their jobs because they've got nothing to do. The responsibility never filters down. So, you know, you've got the two extremes there. You've got a guy who's being proactive and getting everybody on side. And then you've got a guy who's just keeping everything under wraps. The fans are in the dark and there's a complete apathy at the club, you know. So hopefully we'll push on from that. You know, results put a smile on people's faces, and I think everybody's come away from that game on Saturday feeling a little bit better. But let's see where we go in the next few games. I mean, they're the defining games
before,
now.
Pete. Like we've had this before where we've had a result and then we're trying to follow it up. Yeah, Bradford. And do you know what happened after Bradford?
Well, yeah, it was a shit show again.
We lost to Cardiff, lost to Wigan, drew with Burton. We beat Plymouth in the Virtue, drew with Port Vale. Then we beat Northampton in the Virtue, lost to Reading, drew with Doncaster. Essentially, after Bradford, the higher Bradford, we followed it up with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 without a win.
Yeah. Well, it's like you guys said. When I look at the table now, I think, right, we're at the business end. Who are the runners and riders? Huddersfield are inconsistent, bit flaky up front. I can see them dropping out of the top 6. They're just in free fall. Like you said, Ollie, you look at Stevenage, small squad, poor support away from home. I can't see them making a concerted push, although they won again yesterday. You look at the Readings, the Wycombes, Plymouth, Barnsley, Wimbledon. They've all started their push. But again, Wimbledon and Reading stuttered yesterday. But I would imagine all these clubs have had a meeting at some point in the last few weeks, drawn a line in the sand and said, right, this is the moment. We press down on the accelerator when we go from here. And you look at us and you just wonder whether we've had those sort of conversations. So do I think we'll finish in the top 6? No, I still don't think we will. I think we're capable of doing it if we put a run together, but it's a big ask. And I just think we've left it too late. If Saturday is the blueprint, I still think we were poor in open play. I still think we're weak at the back. I know Adolfin played well, but I just can't see it. I really can't see it. I don't know about you guys.
I think the thing for me is I mentioned lack of goal scorer. Obviously, that's been a concern for 2 years. But I also think it's, you were joking about it earlier. Consistency of team. There's not many teams at the business end of the season pushing for the playoffs or promotion that don't know their best 11. And, there's a core of team. All right. Wycombe had players injured. Stockport have had players injured. I think Stevenage have had a couple of players injured as well, but they know what their best 11 would be in an ideal world. And I don't think we do. I mean, how many times has the back 3 changed? All right, some of that is down to injury, but a lot of it's just picking and choosing. I mean, the midfield as well. I mean, we had Walsh and Saville start again, which I thought would have been a disaster. Turns out they both played well and fair play. But, we haven't got a consistent. What is our best team? We know there's a couple of players in there that we'd all like to see.
Don't forget formation. We were playing a back 4, and now we're back
formation.
3.
Yeah, exactly. And there's players there that at times in the season you'd say are undroppable. A first name on the team sheet. Gideon Kadir being one of them, Palmer being one of them, Richards being one of them. Yet they play one game every 2, one game every 3. Some of them. Even if they're not injured. So that's the reason for me that
we still lack as well. We still lack a talker and an organiser like Steve Foster or Steve McNulty at the back, because sometimes this lot are as weak as piss. And Wilshire's trying to get Rolls-Royce performances out of Ford Escort players all the time. And we still lack someone who's willing to sort of, organise, bollock people, give people a tap on the bum when they're doing well. We haven't got that sort of player at the back.
That's what Naismith's trying to be. That is what Naismith's trying to be. And sometimes he's all right like that. But, when he's digging out Keeley and Johnson for, his errors,
that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
If you're going to bollock people like that, your performances have got to be on point. And, again, the first 10 minutes yesterday, 2 howlers from Naismith.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Look, I think Adolfin could be that player, Pete. I think he was doing it. And you can see the difference in our performance yesterday at the back. We were far better at the back. I agree with you about Naismith's errors because he was trying to run through their entire team and score himself and just leaving himself wide open. But I think Adolfin did do that. You could see that from set pieces a lot more. And, it is a kind of what could have been if he'd have been fit for even a third of the season, what difference that could have made. But maybe there's the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to leadership, because I agree with you. Generally, it's been appalling this season.
Oh, it's been awful, absolutely awful. But hopefully this will give them a launch pad for the 2 games coming up. I mean, Exeter, you would like to think will beat Exeter on Tuesday night. Stockport's probably a tougher game. I think that will tell us where we are. I do like the look of the 2 lads up front for Stockport, and Norwood's a class player. If he gets on the ball, he could hurt us. So I think that will tell us a bit more about where we are. The other thing I'm a bit miffed about is the fact that Shaden Morris doesn't get more game time. I mean, he has got pace to burn. If I was the manager of Luton, I'd be putting him to one side and I'd be saying, look, you've got the most blistering pace over 20 yards in this division. So I want you to stick to the touchline every game, and I want you to take that fullback on every time you get an opportunity. Because if he runs at a fullback 10 times in a game, he's going to hit the byline at least 5 times with that pace, or he's going to draw a foul. And then I'd be saying to my centre forward, you better be in the box waiting for his delivery, because he is going to get to the byline. So
With a
I'd be asking me,
how's Naki Wells going to get to a delivery?
Yeah, but I'd be asking my attacking midfielders to arrive in the box. If he's going to get to the byline, you've got to have bodies in the box. And he's a real weapon in this league. There's not many fullbacks that can live with Morris when he knocks the ball past them. But he's used so sparingly. It's as if he can only play 20 minutes of a game.
If you look at his average play time for, who was it, Aberdeen or whoever he played in the Scottish Prem, he averaged 32 minutes over his entire time there.
Again at the weekend.
Yeah.
Give the lad a chance.
It's 5-5 for Nordas now. 5 starts, 5 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely mad.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Imagine what you can do when balls are sent into the box, and all those goals are coming from crosses. And right now we're crossing balls into Naki Wells, who isn't he getting in the box?
It looks like Wells has got a hammy now anyway, doesn't it? So our hand might be forced a bit more.
Yeah, but I think Pete's right though, Ollie, and I said this as well. Although Wells's job, as a number 9 is to score more goals than he had, it needs to be done by the whole team. You've got 1 or 2 players isolated in the box against 6 or 7 defenders, and there's not many crosses that are going to be able to pick those out, however good they are. It is the job of the rest of the midfield as well to be getting in there, and they're not.
You can't defend. You look at, if you look at the class players that were great at arriving late in the box, like your Brian Robsons and Paul Scholes and Frank Lampards.
Even if you just look at Luton, Luke Berry, Cameron McGeehan, Luke Guttridge.
Yeah. They were all weighing in with like 6 or 7 goals a season, the Luke Berries and people like that. We've got nobody who can do that, really, have we? I mean, I suppose Clark can do it to a degree, but
it's simple maths. It's not, you don't even have to be a Luke Berry. It's simple maths. If you're occupying more of their defenders, then there's more chance of someone being left free at the front or the back post. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why people like Nordas are scoring more goals. I'm sure it's more than that as well. But you get in there, you occupy their defence. You give your other players more of a chance of scoring a goal.
Yeah, I'd like to see us be a bit more adventurous. And yeah, he tried to play a little bit more football on Saturday, didn't he? But I'd like to see us at home, really attack these teams now. What have we got to lose? I'd rather now have a real go and get beat 2-0 in the rest of the games than just sit back and, scab a 1-1 here and there or get a jammy 1-0 win. I'd rather us lose 2-0 and have a go.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree.
We got a question for you here, Pete. Is Pete Pete from Bedford who messages 3CR?
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, there's another Pete who messages.
There's two
3CR.
Pete's in Bedfordshire. What a
Who
surprise!
would have thought?
Wow.
I've been on Talk Sport a few times, moaning about Luton.
Well, watch out for the name drop there. Let me pick that up for you. You drop this.
But no, I'm not reading
Wiltshire would have
three
heard of that.
counties. I'm contracted to
straight
you
to-
guys.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
was gonna say.
delighted. We release you to Talk Sport whenever you want to go on there and have a moan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm loyal.
That's good. That is good. Have you had any further thoughts about the silence from the 1885 emails? Well, what was your initial reaction to them when they came out?
Rather like you guys, too many questions, but
Yeah.
I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I do know who's behind them.
Oh,
No,
well, don't
but-
keep it anonymous.
But I'll tell you when I see you at the football.
Oh,
Yeah, but
interesting.
yeah.
But are there going to be any answers to these questions?
Do you? Well,
No.
what do you think?
No.
Absolutely. I mean, the silence is deafening, isn't it?
Yeah, but look, they were sent to the trust. They were sent to Loyal Luton. Loyal Luton have, been scared. They're too scared to even approach it, I imagine. And LTST, they're not going to touch it either. No chance.
No, there's no way you're going to get answers to those questions. Not a hope in hell. It's just radio silence as per usual, isn't it? It's nothing's going to change. I can't see Gary doing a U-turn and saying, you know what, I'll open my heart to all the fans and everybody on the social media sites. It's not going to happen. He'll only answer the questions that he's comfortable with answering, and he's not comfortable in answering those.
No.
I mean, look, we all know. The 1885 didn't realistically think they were going to get answers either. I think my opinion would be that those were posed to put a message out to the board to say, firstly, we know more than you think, and secondly, you're going to get held to account, and you're not going to just get away with not talking to the fans or not being. Or just carrying on the way things are. I think that was more. That's how I read it anyway. From some of those questions, I don't think anyone would realistically think they were going to get answers to those.
And the football is just a smokescreen for all the crap that is going on behind the scenes, isn't it? Really.
Absolutely.
I don't think we're going to. You look at the Virtue Cup. I mean, they're spinning out this feel-good factor about the Virtue Cup and how wonderful it is to be in a final again, and it'll be a magical day out at Wembley, and it's an opportunity to win silverware. But if you talk to 10 of the most hardened season ticket holders or the fans that travel the length and breadth of the country, and you ask them, I would hazard a guess that 8 out of 10 of them would probably say they couldn't give a toss about the result on April the 12th.
It's just a day out on Wembley. It's just nice to see your team play at Wembley. That is the only reason I'm going. It's Wembley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be the day trippers waving their flags and dusting off the old straw boaters that will be excited about winning the cup. Because, those fans haven't been to a game, a Luton game since the playoff final 3 years ago. So they'll be excited about going to Wembley. But, the people who have had to endure this season, they don't give a toss about that. No. They just want to see the team starting to play well and perhaps pick up a few more points in the league. And if we don't go up, we don't go up. I think we're at a point now where everybody's pretty much resigned to the fact that, well, what will be, will be. And
we're going
that's
to
about
Wembley.
as it's going to get. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get
what that's the precursor for, though.
Yeah.
You know what that's the precursor for, Pete, though, don't you? As soon as we give up hope, this always happens with Luton. It'll be close. It'll be closer than any of us think it'll be.
Like West Brom last year.
I don't think we'll make the playoffs. Yeah.
Like West Brom last year, where you just needed to avoid a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the games, though, and the games, I think we've only got to play a couple of teams in the top half of the table, haven't we? So you look at the games and you think, what an opportunity. But we've been saying this for the last 5 weeks. How are we still in this position?
It's mad, isn't it? I think we've all said the same thing. I think we all collectively, because I don't know about you, Pete, but I haven't been looking at the table recently. Surprisingly enough, I just assumed it would be miles off it. I didn't really pay much attention to it, especially after last week's game. And then to note that we're 5 points away from the playoffs. It's just mad. It just says so much about how poor the league's been. I think regardless if he gets in the playoffs, the playoffs are going to be really a lottery. I really do think they are. Look, I know that Bradford and Bolton are arguably clearly going to be the two favourites. The two pretty much guaranteed spots, right? But neither of their form has demonstrated that they show any kind of guarantees either. I mean, they've not been winning week in and week out either.
No.
Both of them have had blips. So, I mean, whoever gets in them, just from a neutral point of view, it could be anyone could win those playoffs. I know what Ollie was saying, that even if we get in them, we won't win. And yeah, because we're playing if semi-final, one of those legs is away, and arguably the final's away from home as well.
I do think though, if you look at Stockport, if they turn it on with the personnel they've got, they could destroy any team with the sort of firepower that they've got. You know, that's Sadibo and the other fellows at Wootton up front.
Wootton,
yeah.
Great player.
If they turn it on, and Norwood starts pulling the strings in the midfield, they can destroy any team on their day. But like you say, apart from the top two, you could put all of those names into a hat and just pull, one team out, and it could be any one of the six, couldn't it? Nobody's. It's not like in the past where you've had teams that have finished third in the table that have been 18 points ahead of everybody else and still not gone up. It's a lottery, isn't it?
I'm looking at the table now. I'm just looking at the form table. Sorry while you're talking, because you're absolutely right. Lincoln City are the only team in League One that have won more than 3 of their last 5 games. The only team. They've won the last 5. Cardiff have won 2 of their last 5, lost 2. Below them, Bolton have only won 2. Bradford 3. Stevenage 3. Huddersfield 2. I mean, form is absolutely dreadful all the way down.
Our form is horrendous. I'm looking at that.
Our form's horrendous as well, but we know that. But yeah, it's unbelievable. You would normally in most seasons see 2 or 3 teams now starting to hit a stride and winning 80% of their games. It's just not happening.
Well, like I said to you before, this is the moment now where a team's got to push their foot down hard on the accelerator. And invariably you see one team sort of come up from nowhere. You saw it in the Championship, I think, when we were trying to get up in the Prem. I think Millwall had a big push, didn't they, when they were winning a lot of games. And it could be us because, like I say, we've got the personnel to do it. I'm pretty confident that we'll deal with Exeter on Tuesday, and all of a sudden that's another 3 points.
And then before you know it, we're staring down the barrel of a playoff. Can you imagine it? It's that easy. Jack Wilshere, manager of the year. ESPN absolutely wanking themselves off silly over that.
Listen, let's not forget, if we make the playoffs, you're wearing a Watford shirt to Wembley, I believe. That was the promise.
No, it was if we go unbeaten. No, it was actually and I think this is defaulted now because one of the games has been moved to after the Virtue. I said if we went unbeaten up to the Virtue Trophy final, then I would wear a Watford shirt to Wembley.
Oh, well, we just have to. He's getting off on a technicality.
Hey, we're at Wembley on a bloody technicality.
You said unbeaten. Well, they didn't say how many games that had to be. So
all of a sudden, it's.
I believe.
I
believe I said 7 games. I think if we went unbeaten the next 7 games, and then they go and move one of the games.
Oh yeah.
I'll see.
Well,
hey, if we go unbeaten before the end of the season, if we get into the playoffs and make it to the finals, then damn straight I'll wear a Watford shirt to the final.
Moving the goalposts. Yeah. Okay,
well, it's good enough for Gary Sweet, so
no man should be subjected to that. I promise you.
I'll tell you
No,
what,
man.
anyone who's planning on going with Ollie to any of these games he's
Listen,
talking
one of
about,
my
I'll get him with
neighbours
someone else.
down. I live in a close of 6 houses, and at the bottom of my close, at Christmas about 5 years ago, this fella moved in and he had a giant reindeer in his front garden. And I drove down, and all of a sudden, to my horror, it had a Watford scarf wrapped around it. I wanted to go down there and burn it, but
Yeah.
to this day, every time I come out my drive and I see him, I've never ever given him eye contact.
Nothing wrong with putting
Absolutely right.
You know, you need to go and put a Luton scarf on it. I did that when I was picking up a mate at Watford A&E. I put a scarf and a hat on a Graham Taylor statue. Did it twice, actually.
And careful, they'll box him up.
Oh, well, he wasn't boxed up that
Doing
day.
things like that.
Yeah. It was cold out, so I was just helping him out.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you in a Watford shirt, Ollie. Honestly,
No, because then you will be in A&E yourself if that's the case.
Yeah,
It'd be funny
yeah.
for 5 minutes. I think bring a change of shirt. I think is the key.
Yeah, I'll get a picture with one. I'll get a picture in one. I'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't feel like having my head kicked in over a silly bet.
No, just a tattoo, that'll do.
Yeah. Elton John.
Great on piano, sucks on organs.
Yeah.
Oh, whoopsie. Yeah, I'm gonna get cancelled, aren't I? Yeah. Whoopsie daisy. Right, it's probably a good time to wrap this up, isn't it? Before
Yes.
Yeah. Pete, thank you very much for joining us, mate.
No problem. Well, look, next week we might be all hideously excited because we've picked up 6 points. But let's give our heads a bit of a wobble, and we'll save that. We'll save that until it happens.
Yeah, look, if I won't make any sweeping declarations. if we get 6 points from the next 2 games, I'll do blank. Whatever the top comment says. Yeah, that's a Twitter thing, isn't it? Right, Pete. Take care, mate, and we'll see you on the other side of this game week where we get 6 points.
Mate.
Enjoy the week. See you, fellas.
Have a good
Ta-da.
one, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, bye.
He always talks tremendous sense.
He does. M1 Jam, please can we have more fun and banter and less doom? Otherwise, I'm going to have to rage quit. Yeah, fair enough. We're quite positive at the start. It did sort of descend a little bit towards the end. But yeah, there we go. Tuesday is massive. The other fixtures are perfect for us, for the teams above us. Yeah, Tuesday is a big game. It'll be very interesting to see who he plays in that game as well. But I'm with Pete. If we don't go for it now, then when are we going to go for it? We've got to try and put more teams more under pressure in their own third of the pitch.
Hell for leather.
Would you?
Hell for leather.
Right. So obviously a Dauphin starts. I think we'll both agree on that. Back three. Are we going to continue? I know we've got the midweek catch up, so we'll have these questions a bit then anyway. But it'll be too late, won't it? Because we got a midweek on Wednesday. But back three. Do we think it? Well, I think he'll continue with it. Whether we should continue with it or not, I don't know.
I don't think we should, because it does leave us incredibly isolated up top. It leaves us really thin on the ground. Like essentially, you got Saville and Walsh, or whoever in that pivot, and it's meant to be a box midfield, but Clark, I think it was one of Clark's poorer games, to be honest. He was virtually anonymous for a lot of it. He has those like lovely little chops and flicks and turn around the corners and all that, but when you're attacking, you only have the wing backs, and that's the thing. Like I'd rather have I liked that underlap when JJ came on. Like when JJ came on, we moved to a 4 at the back. Just play a 4 at the back, have JJ filling in that defensive midfield role, and have, keep Lawrence there, because we couldn't really get Lawrence too much into the game because he was dropping so deep. Just shove him up there, put Morris on one side, have Kodua behind whatever striker we play, or Richards, we have such an abundance of talent.
I think Richards is one of those, a bit like Kodua, who seems to be, he only has to have a 7 out of 10 rather than 8 out of 10. And he gets dropped. He seems to be one of those players that doesn't have to seem to do much to get dropped. I know he's young, and everything else. But he's got a wealth of experience in this league. He's played a lot of games. So yes, he's young, but he played most of last season for Exeter with no problems. But yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think he'll do it. I think we'll continue with the back three. There's absolutely no way Naismith is coming out of the side. So for me, if Naismith is playing, it has to be a back three. It has to be. I never want to see Naismith
I said
in a back
this
two.
when we signed Naismith. I said it.
Yeah.
In the signing announcement, I said I don't understand the signing because we're not signing him to play in a back four because he can't play left back, he can't play left side of centre back. He has to be in a three because he hasn't got the pace to do anything else. And lo and behold, that is exactly how we've sort of rammed him into this starting lineup.
Yeah, and also back three means it's got to be one up front, really, unless he's going to go a 5-3-2. But he's not going to with the amount of midfielders that we've got. It's just, we've got too many midfielders that we won't do that. So that's the other limitation. So I think, look, Adolphin, hopefully he's come through last game fine and starts. I think that's a big positive for me. Walsh has sort of come back in as if he's never been away, really, with the odd exception. I think he's been fantastic. He's showing his class over this season, or the vast majority. He's been the one bright spot, one of the few bright spots of this season, I guess. I was pleased to see Gideon Kodjia back, and Lawrence absolutely has to stay in the team. I think, yeah, and just, yeah, we'll see how it goes in terms of up front, I guess. Wells, if he's injured, I think it'll be Cole
to shine, and maybe
it's got to be
David
Cole.
Gavel will be on the bench. Who knows?
Is he fit? Because I know he came off injured in a youth team.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
He
wouldn't
I
be on
hope
the bench anyway. So.
No, he wouldn't be on the bench anyway.
No.
But just But look, yeah, we have to go for it, and let's hope we get a home performance like we got against Stevenage or Lincoln or whoever, and not some of the more turgid affairs like the ones against Wycombe and Rotherham and the like. Yeah, and Burton, of course.
All the other teams at the bottom of the league. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the concern, isn't it? But oh well. Yeah, fingers crossed. It would be nice. It would be nice to have something to cling on to positively, ready for our midweek.
Yeah, he's hoping for 3 points, and hopefully we're discussing back-to-back wins on Wednesday for the midweek catch-up. And everyone have a great week. Well, I know we will until Tuesday night, and then we'll be bricking it. Everyone, take care. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a right old time, hasn't it, Ryman? It's been good.
Yeah. It's been nice.
No dooming. And
some minor dooming. Not much dooming.
Teensy bit of dooming, but never mind. Yeah, look, focus on the positives. 3 points
Hey,
take you into the new week. Yeah. And as always, most importantly, come on, you 3 point at Adams Park Hatters.